Come on, Spanky. Good morning. Hey, afternoon, Fury. Ramen. I see Ramen was here way early this morning. And how are y'all doing today? It's been a wonderful day in the neighborhood. Hopefully, in everybody's neighborhood. Uh, if you live in Florida, from Tampa south, if and I were you and you had anything you needed to do outside, I would hurry up and get that done most coast because I just got about a half hour ago a massive weather warning for Florida from AccuWeather saying that y'all are going to be getting some really heavy rain. And of course, my dog waits until I go live to decide he wants to go outside. That's okay. He wants to go outside, he gets to go outside. So if y'all live Tampa on south, I would be getting anything done today that I needed to get done before the rains hit. Things like, if you needed to mow your lawn real quick, go grocery shopping, anything like that, get it done. Okay, I got mute here for just a second. You don't want to hear. All righty. Let's see here. Well, Merrick Garland, oh boy, got congressional contempt charges filed against him. Hey, Deck Dog, how you doing? Dogs and kids are always on the wrong side of the door. I tell you, Spanky, he can be frustrating when he's outside. He can want in just after you sat down. And if he's inside, he can decide he wants outside just after you sat down. He doesn't necessarily do it while, you could be up walking around for 10 minutes and he's just sitting there or laying there on the couch or on the floor doing doggy stuff. But 2 minutes after you sit down, he meanders over to the door and starts scratching at it. He doesn't bark at it. He'll just sit there and start scratching at it. That he wants out. And see, that's why I've got a kick plate on the inside of my door. So, yeah, that don't look pretty. It's uh, South Florida. Yeah, buddy. Y'all are in for some real rain today. Now, see, the question is going to be, and you know what this is all about is the audio tapes to the transcript. We talked about this the other day. You know, the House Republicans want to hear the actual audio tape to that transcript of of the state attorney Her of President Biden. Well, the Democrats, the Department of Justice, released a written transcript in which they admitted that there was minor, quote unquote, editing done. Things where he went or I. That's what they said. You know, repeated words. So that made the House Republicans just a little curious. How bad was the actual verbal? Hey, Retro, how bad was the actual uh, responses by Biden that it actually took them or gave them the necessary um, requirement to edit in the transcript? Because at that point, it's no longer a true transcript once you start making edits to it. But the people that work for this White House in the executive office, such as the DOJ, hey, tired morning. They are used to, making these edits to his speeches and such because, they've got to make corrections to them. Well, this is what he actually meant to say, or he forgot to say this word, stuff like that. So it's going to be interesting. The House Republicans subpoenaed the audio recordings. Garland has refused to release them. Therefore, he's been found in contempt of Congress. Now the next question is will what excuse will the Department of Justice come up with as to not to criminally prosecute him under this contempt of Congress? Because I can't think of a legal reason as to why using past all the way back to Nixon, past presidencies, as to why the audio recordings of a released transcript can't be released also. In and of itself, it's not classified. They've admitted that. They're saying that, if they release the audio, it may make it harder for future people to agree to be interviewed. Really? You would think that once you release a written transcript of the interview, anything that, unless it was heavily edited, which then it's not a complete transcript. you would not have a problem with it, because if there was an actual problem with it, then you wouldn't have released the transcript. And you would, you'd release a partial transcript showing redacted where things were removed or not placed into the transcript. So it's going to be interesting to see what's going on. And this DOJ has not been shy about prosecuting people. I mean, Steve Bannon is in jail for his contempt of Congress. Peter Navarro went to jail for his contempt of Congress. And Steve Bannon is the first, the first person charged by the Department of Justice for contempt of Congress since 1983. So it's been 40 years since somebody had been actually charged and sent to trial for contempt of Congress. And this DOJ did it not just once, but twice. With Bannon and Navarro. So there's no excuse for it. I mean, they can't say that it's not something done. Because this, as I said, this DOJ's done it twice. Oh no, you're right. How come you double post in there, Fury? That's weird. You've never you've never done that before. But now everything you're posting is showing up on my screen twice. And it's not like you've made corrections to it, because it's even spelling mistakes are being carried twice. Looks like YouTube is having some issues. Is it showing up on? Well, it's showing up on on my StreamYard screen as being twice. Is it showing up on your guys' stuff on YouTube as being twice? I guess I need to open up YouTube to see how it's looking there. Which I normally don't open the YouTube. Okay, and that's because of the audio. Yep. It's showing up double postings on YouTube also. Okay. So anyway, of course, this Department of Justice is not going to charge Garland and send him to trial. Just like, damn it, the gun runners who refused to even appear before Congress. Why can't I remember his name? He should have been charged under Obama. All right. Let's see here. That's for fun stuff. All right. Let's get to the real thing here. Okay, one of the first things here. The Nashville shooter. Back in March of last year, A judge ordered the FBI to release the manifesto of the Nashville shooter. Remember that? The transsexual who went in and shot up Covenant Christian School, killed 3 staff members and 3 children. All right, is a woman, born a woman, and decided to become a man. And they refused to release her manifesto, which was in and of itself kind of unique, being as usually these manifestos, especially if they're anywhere near right-wing people or racists, get released within minutes to hours. That way they've got plenty of time. The bodies aren't even cold yet, and the left are using it to show how it's the right-wing crazies who have guns and are racist or sexist or transphobes or Muslim phobes, Islam phobes, or whatever. The bodies aren't even cool yet, let alone cold. And Eric Holder, thanks, Duck Dog. How technologies. But for some reason, the FBI has decided that the left wing transgendered individual who went into a Christian school and shot it up, their manifesto, their writings needed to be kept secret from the public. Remember how long it took to get anything out of the Muslim that went and shot up the gay bar? It took a long time to get their stuff out because, oh my God, this is a Muslim. This is somebody who's of the protective class. We can't release that. We can't put out anything that could possibly show that a Muslim did something this bad. We all know it's only whites and men and Christians and conservatives go out and kill people. It's never anybody on the left or a Muslim. So anyway, there are some pages of it released. The Daily Wire got their hands on it. And Matt Walsh read them on his show the other day. And the left is going nuts over it. There is some talk of prosecuting Matt Walsh and the Daily Wire because they're already part of the lawsuit to force the public release of the manifesto. So here's a story from the 11th, day before yesterday. The Covenant school community is facing a new leak of documents. In recent days, unsettling excerpts from the shooter's diary appeared on the Tennessee Star's website. The conservative news outlet is a party to public records case, so this could be problematic. In this context, you have a party who has published something in direct contravention of a court order. And they are protected under the First Amendment. Even though you have the Tennessee annotated that provides lots of protection and defense for media outlets and journalists of publishing stories as to where they got the information from. It's a little bit different because they are a party in this litigation. For weeks, a Davidson County judge has been deliberating should the writings of Covenant School mass shooter be released publicly. Now, a hearing has been scheduled for Monday, June 17th at 11 to discuss the recent excerpts that were released. The judge will ask how the Tennessee Star's articles don't hold them in contempt of court. News Channel 5 doesn't have copies from the Tennessee Star. The outlet claims to have 80 pages of writing and other documents from the police case file. 80 pages. The shooter is dead. Everybody's dead involved with this. So why can't these records be released? It just doesn't make good sense. So let's come over to the Daily Wire website. Covenant Journal revealed shooter said being a female was an effing curse, and that she'd kill to have had puberty blockers. The Covenant School shooter obsessed in her private journal over her desire to be a man, fantasizing about having an imaginary penis and lamenting the so-called gender affirming treatments weren't available to her. The shooter's handwritten journals recovered by authorities at the scene of her deadly attack have been hidden from the public for more than a year, leaving unresolved questions about her motive. At least they're using the correct gender there, her motive, to attack the private Christian school in March of 2023. The images obtained by the Daily Wire from a source familiar with the Covenant investigation provide perhaps the most thorough illustration of her mental state. Now, the Daily Wash here, Daily Wash, the Matt Wash stuff is an actual video of his show. And if you want to watch the show itself, his podcast, here is a link to that. That is a link to the Matt Walsh show, the podcast, which actually had the video, had the pages. Here's a link to the Daily Wire article. Yep. I'm sorry. Here is the link to the Daily Wire article. Let me see if I can. Yeah, let me delete that comment. There we go. Oh, wow. Strange we had the lift insisting we release the IDs of two under 16-year-olds that were stabbed another child, which would immediately result in a mistrial of the two illegal immigrants involved. Huh. I'm going to have to. Can you send me a link or something to that, Fury, so I can read up on that? I'd appreciate it. You can either DM me the link or post it here so I can read up on it. Okay. Showed the shooter was driven in part by anger over her gender identity, as she wrote in a 3-page journal called My Imaginary Penis. The journal entries from March 11th, 2023, less than 3 weeks before the transgender identifying shooter's horrific attack, revealed both a fixation on her desire to be a man and anger that forces she believes stood in her way, including Christianity and her parents. Now, here is that actual scribbles of her page and of the art of the pages of her book. And Daily Wire doesn't make it easy to read it with their um, stamps all over it, but that is what it is. You know, they want to put that on there so people can't steal it and from them without them getting proper credit, which I can understand. Um, the first entry that appears is fashioned as to a letter to someone named Paige. It's unclear who Paige is, though Paige is also the name of a woman the shooter played basketball with as a child, who detailed to ABC News how the shooter had long been infatuated with her. Page had called the authorities after the shooter messaged her on the morning before the attack. The journal entry reveals disdain for Christianity and specifically her parents' alleged attempts to maintain religion in her life. My son, while he never said so to me, and I don't think he ever said so to the wife, did not was not as enthusiastic as I was at his age about going to church. Part of his problem was that I couldn't go every Sunday because of my work schedule. Whereas he and the wife did go. Even if he went out with his friends the night before or had been up late playing video games and talking to and this is one of the reasons why, well, even though he'd been up late with his friends talking with them over the PlayStation. Um, and that is one of the reasons why I didn't want him to have internet in his bedroom. Because at the time we just had wired internet, we didn't have Wi-Fi. The He was still up rather late on some Saturday nights. No tire. Well, in part you are correct, but you are also incorrect because from the time I was about 15 years old or so, um, up until I actually graduated high school, I seriously contemplated and was trying to get accepted into a seminary. I actually wanted to go to a seminary. Um, and a lot, um, and I've often wondered what my life would be like today if I had been able to go to one. So, going to church was very important for me. I was a junior deacon from for I was accepted in as a junior deacon when I turned 15. I helped teach Bible school classes. I helped teach vacation Bible school. So, um, well, I wouldn't have been Shroom because I got the nickname Shroom in the military. So, uh, it's possible I would have been on the internet under a different name, possibly even my real name. But yeah, I still am a very uh, strong believer. But as I've said before, I try to keep I my conversations here on this stream about my religious beliefs to just that. All right, you guys aren't here to listen to me talk about religion. So, anywho, uh, I've lost track here. But anyway, yeah, this trying to maintain religion in a child's life, particularly through the teen years, is and difficult. It's gotten more difficult here the past couple of decades due to the internet and the liberal takeover of the schools, because we do know the schools are anti-religion. You know, any public schools are anti-religion. There's just no two ways about it. At least anti-Christian. So, and I'm willing to have that discussion with anybody that disagrees with me. It's total ignorance when parents step in and try to change their child's environment, the shooter wrote. Make them go to youth group and force Christian friends in their lives because the old ones were a bad influence. I can't effing stand that. Well, again, that is a parent's job to try to help a child grow. And it's this conflict between what the public schools and the media, television shows, cartoons, Disney, the internet, exposes a child to. Okay, and who is in my driveway? Somebody's dropping off a package. I'm not expecting anything. Maybe the wife is. Um, oh, the new refrigerator is working great. I had that delivered Tuesday, and the new refrigerator is working absolutely great. I love it. While the wife loves it. I don't know if she's put anything into it yet. I got to put handles on it today, but anyway. Parents believe religion can change nature, the shooter wrote, that will explain why I don't practice religion anymore. Let kids think for themselves. Listening to parents does no damn good but to mold their premature minds into a pre-formatted program. This, and that's exactly what the schools do. That's exactly what the internet does. That's exactly what every, when you're teaching a child, you're doing exactly that. The kids aren't being taught to think for themselves. They're being taught to think the way that either that their parents, their school teachers, and the media wants them to think. They're not being taught, I mean, they're really and seriously not being taught to think for themselves. That's why that one college or high school, was he a high school or college professor, got fired, teacher, because one of his students made this statement that HK or J.K. Rawlings was a transphobe and bigoted, and he actually made the kid step through everything. I mean, he never told the kid what to think. He made the kid think, and they ended up, and he got fired for it. The and so I mean, if there is going to, I mean, as much as the left, as much as the government, as much as the media always wants to push the blame on Christians, on conservatives. I mean, it's like right now, if you're conservative and you support Trump, you're a maggot. Okay, you're not a real conservative. You're a mega extremist. If you support Trump in any way, you're a MAGA extremist. You're not a real conservative, according to the left. That's the message that they're pushing out and pushing out hard right now. Officials have denied there is evidence suggesting the Covenant School, a private Christian school that the shooter attended as a child, was targeted because of an animus towards religion. Really? With what? Those previous statements about her hatred for religion? Again, the officials are lying. If that had been written by a straight white male, but instead of talking about religion, they're talking about race. Those would have been released immediately as proof that this guy was a racist. That he, all right, that those statements were proof that he was a racist, uh, and that was evidence that all conservatives are racist. All white males are racist. Okay, Spanky, you're all right. Now, if you just flip that script, that statement, those statements there would not have been withheld from the public. They would have been pushed out there as proof of the racism. The remainder of the 4 pages, however, revolves around the shooter's fixation on becoming a man and suggests a serious case of gender dysphoria. Her parents I do not know because to my knowledge they haven't released anything, but was she under psychiatric care? If she wasn't, she should have been. She fantasized about what it'd be like to have a penis. I've worked with a lot of women, and and I actually had one when I was in the service. I was a senior airman, E3 senior airman. No, E4 senior airman, not E4 sergeant, E4 senior airman. And I had an E5 staff sergeant, female, that I worked directly for. And we were sitting there talking one day between didn't have any jets to fix, rare day. We're sitting there talking, and she was talking about her husband. She goes, one of these days, I'd like to know what it's like to have a penis and what it's like to be on top like that with that for a change. You know, this was in 82, 81, 82, and it was before the overly sensitivity really got strong in the military. But I've known several women in my life that said that they would like to know what it was like to have a penis, what it felt like to have a penis, especially when having sex. So I want to know what it's like, but I never will because I was damned to be born this way. I swear to F, I hate it so GD much. It's an effing curse. There's a lot of. I would like to know what it would be like to be born with the genetics to have lots of muscles and the genetics, to where my ankles weren't twisted when I was born, or I was born with a properly connected intestinal system. There's a lot of things I'd like to know what it would be like. I'd like to know what it's like not to have to wear glasses. I've worn glasses since I was in fourth grade. There's a lot of things I'd like to know what it's like to be, but I never will because I wasn't born that way. White, some white people want to know what it's like to have been born black. Some black people want to know what it's like to be born white. Some people want to know what it's like to be born into a rich family. Some people like to know what it's like just to be born healthy. So, wanting to know what it's like to be born as something different than what you are, that's normal. That's normal. I mean, I was always tall and skinny through school. I had short friends that I wish I was born to be where I could be taller than what I am. The guys were, when I was 6 foot, they were 5'4". You know, it's not a curse. It's just the way you were born. This girl needed help that she evidently was not getting. Now, was it her parents not giving it, knowing that she had these problems and not giving her the help she needed? Was her teachers not telling the parents that this girl's got these problems? So what was going on? Where did she get these ideas and not get the help she needed if they were this bad, this intrinsic to her. The journal shows both anger at living through the torture of being raised in a girl, as well as her mother and people in this world for not accepting she could choose genders. You can't change genders. I'm sorry, XXXY. That's it. You are what you are when you were born. I can't change my skin color. I can get tanned, and but I only get tanned as much as a Irishman can get tanned. You know, the little bit of Cherokee blood I've got in my system in my past does give me a little bit of an edge. I don't burn as easily as other people with Irish blood, but being people in Ireland, Scotland, and Welsh aren't really known for the ability to get a good tan. So you can't change your gender. You are what you are when you were born. You can modify your body to fool others into thinking what your gender is. But your gender is still your gender. Your bone structure and muscular structure is still the same. You can't change that. She complains that for much of her life, she actually believed she had to deal with it until she could learn that changing genders was possible. Somebody lied to her. People lied to her. People lie to her and to people like her, to kids today, every day about this. You can't change your gender, like you can't change your race. There are some things about you and your body you cannot change. And gender and race are two of them. So that didn't last long after high school ended and no longer had the fear of being called a dyke or a F. She writes, it was only until my early 20s I finally found the answer that changing gender is possible, and I was really who I find and who I really was, I finally embraced to show. Again, she needed psychiatric help. She really and truly did. There's a lot of people who need psychiatric help, and there's a lot of kids, who need to be told, no, you're not a girl. No, you're not a boy. A lot of children need to be just told, no, you're not. But the schools and the media, that's not acceptable to them. They're pushing this whole idea that, yes, you can change what you are. After more than a year of total lockdown, materials related to the shooter, flooded documents have come out in recent weeks. The leaked images further undermine official claims that there is no focus in her so called manifesto about specific political, religious, or social issues. Again, the media and the government officials we're not going, well, the government officials, we're not going to release anything that went against the narrative that only straight white conservative Christian men are a real danger. They're the danger to the world because they're the ones who do the mass shootings. They're the ones who hate based upon religion or based upon skin color or based upon your gender. It's this, again, this idea that blacks can't be racist because they're black. Really? Women can't be sexist because they're women. Really? No. Only men are guilty of domestic violence. Oh, really? Only men, SA people, and women are always the target of SA. Really? And I'm not going to go off on a tangent. I want to, but I'm not. Stay on track here. Much of her anger was directed at her inability to get treatment such as puberty blockers. Children who are able to take puberty blockers and never entered a tortured puberty. Those little F's don't know how good they effing have it. I've killed to have parents who would let their child be happy no matter how different to their viewpoints or don't agree or scared of it. They're willing to listen to their children, not the other way around. I'd kill to have those resources. Effing parents like them who think of themselves first and their preference of a conservative religion. Shooter writes in the entry on her imaginary penis. She said in the journal that puberty was a life sentence for her. 99.999% of people who do not take puberty blockers go through puberty naturally. Puberty is natural to the human body. A bare flat chest made me free. Oh, come on. Girl puberty imprisoned me, and so does my mind. Puberty equals a life sentence. The way your body was when you were born is the body you normally have for the rest of your life under ideal circumstances. You don't gain any diseases or have any accidents that, remove a limb. You don't have an illness that causes limbs to fall off or have to be amputated. You don't go out and get frostbite so bad you lose your fingers, toes, or feet. You don't get diabetes and have to lose your feet because of necrosis. But under most circumstances, the body you're born with is the body you have. Aside from the 3 pages released last November by Stephen Crowder, there's been a blockout on all materials that provide insights to why she opened fire at the Christian school. Those pages showed the shooter raged about white privilege and state that she wanted to kill crackers going to private fancy schools. And see, this is what I've been saying from the beginning. That blackout appears to be due to a newly reported memo by the FBI in which a federal intelligence agency warned Nashville police that releasing her writings could result in false narratives that would lead to unintended consequences for the segment of the population more vulnerable or open to conspiracy beliefs. And keeping this stuff a secret is what builds the conspiracy. When the facts are out there in the public, and all the facts are out there in the public, conspiracies die. It's only when you hide stuff that causes the conspiracies to grow and become believed. When you hide facts. Let's go back to Garland here. If this administration actually believed that there was no difference between the Joe Biden's audio recordings of the interview with her and the transcript released, they would have released the audio recordings with no problem. But the problem is with all of a sudden declaring them secret and unable to be released, now there's going to be people building up conspiracies as to why they won't release them. And nobody's going to believe a word they have to say because they're the ones refusing to release it. Same way here. When you refuse to release the writings, that's what's going to cause the false narrative. And the FBI is great at creating false narratives. They really are. Showing up at a minister's house at 5:00 in the morning after letting CNN know that they're going to show up there to arrest somebody because they were praying in front of an abortion clinic the day before. Or showing up at a Trump supporter's house with 100 agents showing up at a Trump supporter's house to arrest them at 5:00 in the morning, and CNN just happened to be there. Oh no, nobody told CNN. They just happened. They got great reporters, and they just happened to be in the right place at the right time. They just happened to be camping out in front of that guy's house, and with all their camera gear and everything needed to record his being frog marched out of his house. Let's not forget, the FBI also, trying to infiltrate the churches, especially the Catholic Church. Trying to infiltrate the Catholic Church with their own little spies and tattletales. So, if the facts are released, all the facts are released, there can't be conspiracies. And excuse me, and the false narratives are already there. All right. If you really want, the truth is anybody's going to build up a false narrative. But honestly, this woman had a problem with Christians. This woman had a problem with the Christian school that she went to. So it's not hard. I mean, it's not a false narrative, it's the truth. The Tennessee Star revealed last Wednesday, however, they had reviewed nearly 4 dozen images of the shooter's writing, including the entry on her imaginary penis. Fox 17, local Nashville outlet, also published an image of the journal Monday afternoon in which she refers to herself as the most unhappy boy alive and confesses to thinking of death a lot. This girl was sick. She was mentally ill and needed professional treatment. And she wasn't getting it. She was being told what instead of being told you need mental health help, she was being told that what she needed was surgeries and drugs. Oh, wait a second here. I looks like I was wrong. The Tennessee Star has reported that the Metro Nashville Police Department sought a warrant for records from the Vanderbilt University Medical Center, where the shooter had been patient and mental health professionals for 22 years. Vanderbilt declined to answer questions of what kind of treatment she was receiving, including whether they was treating her for gender dysphoria. Vanderbilt would not respond to a request. So she was receiving mental health, medical help. It wasn't working. Then again, what kind of was she being having her mental health, her gender dysphoria reinforced? That wouldn't surprise me. I'd kill to have those resources. 2007 was the birth of puberty blockers and and a newfound discovery for the treatment of non-conforming transgender children. 2007 was when I was in the sixth grade. Puberty had already hit me. The only reason why I could conclude it didn't bother me too much is my boobs were small. I thought they'd stay that way forever. My autistic brain, changing body effed me over, even if my boobs were still small for the most part. Elsewhere in the journal, she described at length graphic sexual games she would play with her stuffed animals, fantasizing she was the boy performing sex acts on a girl. The margins of her journal were filled with immature sexual images. I can pretend to be them and do things boys do and experience myself as Tony. My stuffed boy doll is like the boy I am in another form since childhood. I constructed him with a penis, then got out my girl doll named Ashley, who's Tony's lifelong boyfriend, to have sex with Tony. Ashley's represented as my dream girl I wish to have in real life. All right, that's the end of what she actually wrote. If she was getting mental help, she wasn't getting either. She wasn't getting enough mental help, or she needed more than what is legally allowed anymore. I mean, she needed commitment because she was, as it was proven, a danger. Somebody missed the fact that this girl was a danger to herself and to others, and that more resources should have been used. We are growing as a nation of vapid, narcissist idiots. Yeah, I'm not going to disagree too much with you. Tyler, it's not just our children, but we have a lot of adults that need to have the mental health issues taken care of. We've got a lot of veterans. That 22 a day, it's it's a real thing. It's a real thing. So some form of permanent in-house treatment does need to happen, need to be there for some people. What and how it's done, I'm not qualified to make that kind of a statement, but it's evident that when you've got people that are known to be mentally ill and a danger to other people, that something should be done. And a question that's not been, I don't think it's been asked. How did she get these guns? Were there a family member's guns that she took without permission? Did she buy them and not be, and how did she get past the NICS check being, uh, did, uh, did I close the tab? No, there it is. Did the Vanderbilt not have her reported as an individual who should not be able to purchase a firearm due to her mental health? I don't know if those questions have ever been asked. I could be wrong, and they have. Again, I don't know if they've ever been asked or not. So, retro. I remember when the ruling came down, but I don't remember what all the issues were beyond that people were being held against their will, that it was unconstitutional that these people be held like that, if I remember correctly. But then again, I could be totally wrong. And unfortunately, I'm not going to take the time right now to do that research, to do a Google on that to see uh, what it was. So, all right, let's close out all those tabs. All right, now a little bit more fun. Well, sort of fun and games. Yesterday, there was the congressional baseball game. And I watched the news last night, and this was not on the news last night. I wonder why. Climate defense. Breaking. We have taken the field at the congressional baseball game, and play has been frozen. Congress sends billions of public dollars to subsidize deadly fuels, but the police are tackling us instead. The Chevron sponsored game cannot continue. This is unconscionable. Look at these guys jumping down onto the field. Is that a female cop that couldn't keep that guy down? I'll have to pause it here next time I. Yep, yeah, she's got a ponytail. Yeah, he spun her right off. Look at the ponytail. Yeah, that's a female cop. She can't even tackle one of these climate defense guys. Look at how he's throwing her around. Wow. Anyway. Police arrest. Okay, Washington Post. Police arrest climate protesters at congressional baseball game. What's this here? This is a climate emergency. That's these little flags these guys are waving. Urgent. This was 4 hours ago, 4 or 5 hours ago. Urgent. At the time of this writing, 8 members of our group are behind bars. They are in jail for interrupting the Chevron sponsored congressional baseball game. Donate to support our legal costs. We were brutalized tonight, beaten and bruised as we took over the congressional baseball game. Our bodies are bloodied, but our spirits are unmoved. We will build a better world. We will rise again. We will prevail. Just you wait. That's the same one. Let's see here. Update. 8 of us have been arrested for shutting down. They are behind bars. Make no mistake, it's the members of Congress who should be locked up. All right, come over here to the Washington Post article. Okay. Police arrest climate protesters at baseball game. U.S. Capitol Police arrested 8 demonstrators who jumped on the field at Nationals Park Wednesday night. No injuries were reported. So, yeah, they were really bloodied and bruised. The planned interruption, which the climate group Climate Defiance announced Tuesday on social media, ended quickly after demonstrators descended the fence along the left field line. Climate Defiance, which opposes fossil fuels, has disrupted meetings, speeches, and events with the Democratic leaders to bring attention to the climate crisis. Authorities charged the demonstrators with interference with a member of the U.S. Capitol Police, formerly officials said on X, formerly known as. So there you go. Yeah. Yeah, these guys, yeah. Guys and gals. The heroes of the left. Yeah, Retro, they sure were promising that. Do you remember? Oh, man, why? I can never remember the name of that Twilight Zone episode. Uh, Was it Twilight Zone or the other one? I'll look up Twilight Zone. Zone episode Earth burning up. Let's see if that helps. There we go. It's called the Midnight Sun, the Twilight Zone episode. Okay, here we go. That was, when was that? Uh, November 1961. So I definitely watched it on a repeat. So that was a good article or a good episode. Scared the hell out of me when I was a kid the first time I watched it. So anyway, but yeah, then we did have the uh in the 70s. Earth is going to freeze. Um, Claim 70s. Let's see if that helped out. Yes, in the 1970s, uh, scientists believed that the ice age was imminent. We were all going to freeze to death. Hey, Wiley, how's it going this morning? Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. We were also going to run out of oil. We're going to run out of fossil fuels until they discovered more. So no, the Fury that. Oh man, did some heavy lifting last night, or did you just sleep wrong? I did that a couple nights ago. I just must have absolutely slept wrong. My right shoulder, it just I could barely lift my arm. I couldn't lift my arm high enough to really to comb my hair the next morning. It just hurt like hell. Slept like a jackass, huh? Okay. Let's see. What else did I want to have fun here with? There was another article I wanted to have some fun before I get into Joe Biden's lies. All right, here we go. This video I've got is just from X, but it's been out there in other places. The White House had their Juneteenth celebration. I used to float, now I just. That audio's the wrong audio. Look at old Joe just everybody's around him is bopping and swaying and clapping and old Joe, man, he's just does he even know where in the hell he's at? Or is he so drugged that he doesn't know what he's doing? If it wasn't for the head movement, you'd think that was a damn mannequin sitting there or standing there most of the time. But folks, that is our president. Like him or not, that is our president. That don't even look right. I know. He doesn't even look right. There's that one. Do I want to do this? No, I want to say swallow there for just before the end. So let's go to Biden's speech that he was given uh, just after his son was convicted of his 3 gun related charges, his 3 felonies. And right after that, right after the conviction come out, old Joe, he's there at a Moms Demand Action or some dumbass group giving a speech. And there's part of it here is just absolutely ridiculous. All right. All right. Look, unfortunately, this is the only partisan thing I'm going to say. This is Biden talking now. The congressional Republicans oppose all of these, every one. Instead of trying to stop our ban on ghost gun kits, first of all, I'm going to be honest. I've said it before, I'll say it again. You have the right to be armed. You should not have to seek permission to be armed. And it should not be up to the government to decide what you can and can't be armed with. And if you want to build your own firearm for you to use yourself, just like you can build your own car and use it yourself, you can build your own airplane and use it yourself. Now, if you go to sell them, then you have to meet government testing requirements, safety issues, and such. But if I want to build myself a Saturday night special or a zip gun, I know I'm going to talk about something a lot of y'all are too young to even know about. Back in the day, it was possible to take the radio antennas off of cars because they were built differently back in the day. And you could modify them to make a single shot 22 out of them. Oh, yeah, it was possible. And it was done. But if I want to do that, or if I had access to a CNC machine and a 3D printer and a 3D printer, I could print myself a gun, a workable gun. It may only be a one-time use gun, but I could print myself a gun. And as long as I don't sell these guns, I personally don't have a problem with somebody printing up their own gun. If it's illegal for me to have a gun and I get caught with a gun, then I get, obviously, punishment is there. But I should not have to seek permission from the government to buy a gun. And I know it just wasn't that long ago that I was asking the question how this young lady that shot up Covenant School was able to get guns without being caught for the mental health issue. That's the system we're under. Whether I like the system or not, whether or not I like the entire system or not, that's the system we're under that is there supposedly to protect us from the crazies, from being able to buy guns. It didn't work under for Hunter Biden, a drug addict, to buy guns. It didn't stop this young lady from buying guns and shooting up a school. So it normally does. I mean, a lot of times it don't work. It's nothing more than it's turned into nothing more than a way of catching FFL dealers and shutting them down for making a mistake on them and shutting them down, and then taking their licenses and shutting them down. So anyway, instead of trying to stop our ban on ghost gun kits, these can commit crimes. No kits actually commit a crime. It's the person that commits the crime. They're working like hell to stop it. They want to they want to abolish the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives, which is responsible for fighting gun crimes. The reason why we want to abolish the ATF or the BATFE is because they do stupid stuff. They change the rules that turn ordinary citizens, gun law abiding citizens, into felons overnight. Yeah, the CIA heart attack guns. Oh, for Hunter, yeah, Retro, yeah, it's not until the end of July, I think. But then he's got to turn around in September. He's got to go to California for his tax evasion trial. So he won't be in jail probably. Any jail term sentences probably won't take effect until I would say they're probably going to figure out a way of letting him spend Christmas and New Year's with his dad. So I'm looking at January before he actually reports to, if he has to report to any type of confinement. Then he's probably going to get 3 to 4 months at one of the camps, that has salad bars and such. Nothing too. It won't even be a minimum security camp, but something even more easier than that. But anyway, the ATF has been, changing the rules and basically making law. Nothing should, and I've said this before, and I will say, and this is all part of that Chevron defense, that Chevron ruling the Supreme Court made a couple of decades ago, that is going up before this, went up before the Supreme Court over fisheries, fishing boats having to have paying for inspectors to be on board. Well, like $1,400 a day for every day they go out. They have to pay for an inspector to be on board their ship. So if they can get rid of the Chevron defense, if the Chevron defense can be overturned, then that will stop these agencies from being able to make rules that have the effect of law. All right. You can't be pro law enforcement and say you are pro law enforcement and be pro abolishing the AFT. You can't do it. It's outrageous. I'm pro good law enforcement, not bad law enforcement. And agencies that have proven themselves to not care about the constitutional rights of the citizenry should be abolished. And if there is a true need for what they were doing, then they need to be rebuilt from the ground up with all new limitations on what they can and can't do, with serious consequences for when they overstep. And that is why the rationale for taking away the ATF. Okay, this is every town that he was at. All right. Now, Biden did a little lying while he was there. I used to be a law when I was no longer vice president. I became professor of Pennsylvania. Before that, I taught constitutional class, law class. So I taught the Second Amendment. So what did he actually do? Let's take a look. Where did I put it? Where did I put it? Ah, here we go. PolitiFact. Come on. PolitiFact did a thing on this. Joe Biden served as a professor of practice at the University of Pennsylvania starting in 2017. His duties went on for about 2 years instead of 4 because he went on unpaid leave in 2019 to run for president. Biden's role involved panel discussions and public appearances, but not classroom teachings. So he didn't teach anything. He led panel discussions. And that was it. There's never been a time you can own anything you want. Never. You couldn't own a cannon during the Civil War. Joe, you can still own a cannon. It wasn't that back in the day here not too long ago. One of the pawn shop shows, they bought a cannon. You can buy cannons. You can make a cannon if you want. You can own a cannon. That cannon that they bought on Pawn Stars, it shot off a 16-pound bowling ball. Hey, Data, how you doing today? Are you serious, Data, about that phone app? I may have to check into that. Yeah, Fury. It was yeah, speakers mostly. There's never been a time, but no, you can own a Canon today. So that's a lie. I mean, that's a lie. Dog faced, dog faced pony soldier lie. Then this is the next part. Is the part that gets me. Is his attempt here to quote Thomas Jefferson and failing miserably. No, I'm serious. Think about it. How much have you heard this phrase? The blood of liberty washed with give me a break. We all know what the quote is. The tree of liberty must be refreshed from time to time with the blood of patriots and tyrants. The man could not even get that quote straight. The blood of liberty. And then, and by the way, if they want to think it's to take on the government if we get out of line, which they're talking about again. Well, guess what? They need F-15s. They don't need a rifle. Um, the Taliban did a pretty damn good job, and ISIS did a pretty damn good job of keeping the United States government and our war machine at bay for 20 years. They didn't have any F-15s. And seriously, how many active duty military do you think would actually fire upon American citizens? I'm not one to advocate for a civil war, a shooting war. The people against Washington, D.C. I don't advocate for that at all. You guys know it. What I fear is a splitting of the country into two, three, or four separate countries. I do fear that. There are things I do fear could happen because of the polarization of our government and of the country. Brought upon being brought up upon us by the way the government treats the people. I mean, the idea that the American people should not be given the facts because, well, somebody may make a conspiracy up about it. The fact you're not giving out the information is what's going to cause the conspiracy to be made up about it. So, yeah, well, I'll tell you, Retro, though, that 15 is still in production and still being sold to our allies overseas. And I am proud to say I worked on that aircraft for 20 years, starting in 1978. And at that time, it had only been in the U.S. inventory for 5 years. Listening to Joe talk at those people at that event was nuts. It really was. So the town hall had a good Matt Vespa at the town hall. He had a pretty good article dealing with his speech at that event. I'll post a link to it. Man, I haven't watched Alien 3 in a while. I need to watch that again. I really do need to rewatch the Alien trilogy. Oh, so what am I doing here? Okay, let's see. You hear this administration, and you hear the FBI and the Democrats bragging about the reduction in crime. The problem with that is in 2020, this is from 2022 because we don't have the 2023 stats in yet. Let me share this screen. In 2022, only 31% of the 18,000 law enforcement agencies across the U.S. failed to report crime to the FBI's national database after transitioning to the new data collection system. In 2021, almost 40% were missing. All right. So, California, only 49% of law enforcement agencies reported crime data to the FBI. And only 27% reported a full year's worth of crime data. All right. So you can imagine how much crime did California not report? What cities did not report their crime or all of their crimes to the FBI? And the media and the Democrats rely on the FBI report to show whether or not crime is going up or down in the country. Yet over half of the cities in California did not send their stats, and just barely over a quarter of the cities reported a full year's worth of crime. All right. Let's see here. Let's look at mine. Florida. 8% of law enforcement agencies reported crime data, and only 5% reported a full year's worth of crime data. Why Florida basically didn't report any of its crime data. And you can't look at DeSantis and blame it on him, because these are the individual cities deciding not to do it. Illinois. Oh, Illinois, 52%, but only 33% reported a full year's worth of crime data. Come on down. Where's Michigan? Wow, Michigan's really good. 92% of law enforcement agencies and 77% reported. Hey, Michigan, good on you. Let's look Mississippi, 52 and 43. Hey, 52, that's decent numbers. New York, 24% of New York, of law enforcement agencies in New York reported crime, and only 16% reported a full year's worth of crime. That is absolutely sickening. So when you hear these people using the FBI reports, crime stats, understand that most of these cities and most cities in the country aren't reporting. Ohio, 73% made any reports and 44% reported a full year. Ohio, not bad. Good on you. Let's see here. Texas. Wow. Look at Texas. 87% reported and 77% reported all their crime. That's wonderful. Texas is way up there. That's good news. That's good. Let's see here. I don't care about the Dakotas. Pennsylvania. 9% made any reports and 6% reported a full year's worth of crime data. They couldn't even get 10% of their cities to make reports to the FBI. So when you hear Biden and the Democrats, Rye, Garland, talk about the drop in crime since Biden's been president, understand that in the past 3 years, most cities have not reported all their crimes to the FBI. So Maryland, you want me to look up Maryland for you? Okay, can do easy. Maryland, 38 and 15. Not looking good. Alaska, okay. And let me go ahead and get this share this link for you so you guys can peruse it at your desire. Alaska, all the way up to the A's, Alaska. 79 and 50. Good on Alaska. Anything over 50% is good as far in compared to most of the cities or most of the states. Do they have DC on here? No. 28 states and the District of Columbia had higher reporting rates than Alaska. This is called the Marshall Project. If anybody's interested in looking it up, because that link was too much for one post. So, yeah, that doesn't look bad at all. All right, I can close that. All right, now, like I said earlier, we know that Hunter Biden is doing his tax evasion charges in September, facing up his going to trial. But that's only for 2016 through 2019. He is not the Department of Justice. They screwed around long enough to let tax years 2014 and 2015 to both uh, fall away due to the statute of limitations. And those just happen to be years that Joe Biden was vice president. And possibly getting money back from Ukraine. Remember, that's when he threatened Ukraine that they wouldn't get the $6 billion unless they fired people. So that's must be nice to have. I mean, we'll see how that trial turns out. All right, get rid of that one. I don't need it. Oh, now some good news. If you live in Texas, let's see here. I thought I had it saved. Texas, Mississippi, Louisiana, good, and one other state, and I can't remember off the top of my head what other state it was. But let me, come on, where is it? There it is. Judge blocks Biden administration from closing gun show loophole in Texas and 3 other states. A federal judge has temporarily blocked Biden administration from enforcing a federal rule in 4 states that requires people who sell firearms online and at gun shows to conduct background checks on their potential customers. Now, these are people like you and I who are not gun dealers, and we're selling. I decide to sell one of my Glocks or one of the other guns that I've got. Okay, so and I happen to make a profit on it. So that's where this is coming in. So if you live in one of those 4 states, that ATF rule is blocked. All right. I love the way they've CNN put this. Don't even ask me to pronounce this guy's name. Kazmarek, a Donald Trump appointed conservative judge. Whoa, what a mouthful. Usually they just say Trump appointee or a Biden appointed or something like that. A Donald Trump appointed conservative. I've never seen him do a Biden appointed, a what the hell? A Biden appointed liberal judge known for ruling against Biden administration policies. Yes. I mean, they're really going out of the way here to make it, this guy isn't a real judge. He's just a Trump appointment who hates Biden. All right. Said in his 21-page ruling, the administration violated rulemaking procedures when it finalized a new rule earlier this year. Oh, wow. Sort of like the judge that ruled that Donald Trump violated rulemaking procedures when he signed an executive order ending DACA. Didn't hear any of the, I don't remember any CNN or anybody else making a big deal about that, other than, yeah, this judge got it right. The new ATF rule, which took effect May 20th, seeks to close what gun control advocates have long called the gun show loophole by increasing requirements to obtain federal firearms licenses. More specifically, define what it means to be engaged in the business of selling firearms. Yeah, if you make a profit, you're in the business. That's basically the way this new part works. So I'm hoping, we're all hoping that block stays permanently and it nationwide block. So now I've got a guy here that I'm going to nominate for Father of the Year. Absolutely. This guy is Father of the Year. Oh, crap. This woman, not related, not married to that man, not related to that child, comes up and grabs a hold of the child by the back of his neck. Papa spends no time at all. No time at all. Boom. In a matter of seconds, he let her know exactly that what she did, he did not appreciate. And I don't think he would do it again. She's going to do that again. And Mama had a little bit of a difficulty getting back up afterwards. I mean, she should have stayed down for the count. I've just watched this over and over and over again. Father of the Year. I hope he didn't get any trouble for that. I really hope he didn't get in any trouble. Yeah, Tyra, I agree with you. He should not have, but I mean, he hit a woman. Well, she laid hands on his son and had no idea who she was. Now, one of my, how do I put him? One of the people that I would gladly urinate on, unless he was on fire, was up, made a floor speech. And the thing about this particular jerk and his floor speech, he is not fit to be in Congress. He is not fit to be in Congress. He actually, like another Democrat, should be in jail for aiding and abetting the enemy. But let's listen to this.
This is not about the
Let's listen to this jerk, Mr. Swallow here.
contempt of the Attorney General. It's about MAGA Republicans' contempt for the Constitution, the rule of law, and democracy.
This is about the contempt charge against Garland. This is his response to it. You know, the House of Representatives subpoenaed something, and Garland's refusing to do it. So the rule of law says that the House is allowed to subpoena it. The rule of law says that Garland is supposed to turn it over. And when he doesn't, then he is subject to be found in contempt of Congress. But our boy Swallow here, well, Even though that is part of the Constitution, he doesn't like it. He didn't mind it when the Democrat controlled Congress filed it against Republicans. He wasn't there saying that.
Contempt for the Constitution, the rule of law, and democracy. And it's about who any of us came here to fight for. MAGA Republicans are fighting for one person at the cost of what your constituents actually care about. You're fighting for a felon. You're fighting for a felon. On this side, we're fighting for working people. We're fighting for the kids and the teachers and the soldiers and the cops and the firefighters and the bakers and the butchers, people who go to work every day and count on us to do something for them. And you're working for a felon.
I get such a kick out of this. I really do. Yeah, he still is Fury. At least I believe he still is. I know there was an attempt to kick him off, but they the kangaroo court, you know, a judge that is not a full-time judge who somehow got put in charge of every trial dealing with anyone from the previous administration, that told the jurors they didn't have to reach unanimous decisions in order to convict him of any crimes. A crime which was when Hillary Clinton did it and she'd get an $8,000 fine, a misdemeanor. But through legal mechanisms and chicanery, they're able to elevate misdemeanor into 34 felonies. Yeah, Mr. Swallow. And you should not even be allowed to be in Congress having slept with a Chinese spy for as long as you did. Every time I see you, I think of you having a CCP underwear and t-shirt on, and Mao's little red book tucked into your breast pocket instead of the Constitution.
A felon. 12 of his neighbors, people in the community where he committed crimes, made 34 decisions. And 408 straight times, they said guilty. So let me make it clear where we stand. We will choose families over felons, verdicts over vengeance.
So you're no longer supporting anything dealing with George Floyd then there, Mr. Swallow? Hmm? Just asking the question. You're not supporting anything dealing with George Floyd?
And people over politics. And can we also just talk about subpoenas for 1 second? Because two of your last speakers are 750 plus days in defiance of a subpoena. So get real when Mr. Jordan and Mr. Biggs come to this floor and want to talk and get all righteous about subpoenas. You start honoring your subpoenas, and we can talk about anyone else's subpoena. This is not a
Watermark. Who watermarked what? Oh yeah, the Fang Fang. Yep. Yep. This was where oh, okay, never mind. I was going to say what is going on my computer here. So anyway, guys, that's all I got for us for today. This is Thursday, so that means tomorrow is the fun stream. No politics allowed. Everybody try to have a good day today. Stay out of trouble if you can. Have a lot of fun getting out of it if you have to. And as always, be with the ones you love and love the ones that you are with. And have a good one, guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.